Okay, so welcome to this webinar where I'm going to, well, for those of you that are already customers of iDynamics Commissions or that already know the app, one of the ideas today is that I'm going to show you all of the new features that we've released during the last year. And for those of you that have not yet seen or used the app, I hope that today's session will help you see or give you an idea of all of the features that it has and why it's the best app to managing commissions in Business Central. Now, the first thing that you will see if you install iDynamics Commissions from the App Source is that a new menu called Commissions appears up here with with links to all of the main features of the app. Okay. Now, going over all of the things that we've added during the last year, and especially during the last months, you can see here, well, that we have sales teams. That's something that we added last summer so that you can define sales teams and define a manager and define different roles within the team, so that when you define commission rules, you can give commissions not just to the person doing the sale, but also to their manager or to other people within the team. Now, we've extended these things in the last release that we released a couple of weeks ago, and we've added something that we call salesperson rules. Now, something that we've learned during the last years of developing and talking with customers is that for many of you, the salesperson is not really linked to the customer as such. With that, I mean that sometimes you have customers in different sales territories, and actually your salespeople are assigned to those territories and not to actually specific customers with a name. So now with salesperson rules, you can do just that. You can say, okay, for customers in the Northeast, Otis is the salesperson assigned. Or for customers in Scotland, Robin is the salesperson in charge. And when you do this, what's going to happen is that if you don't assign a specific salesperson to a customer, because if you do so, that's the salesperson that's going to win or to achieve to address, our app is going to look for the salesperson rules defined and check whether there's any salesperson assigned to the territory to which the customer belongs, and just assign it. Now, this is something that's interesting, but we go further than that. We also let you assign salespeople based on the thing being sold, for example, on the item being sold or on the item group being sold, because something that we've also noticed is that for many of you, you don't always work with salespeople assigned to customers, but sometimes you work with salespeople assigned to specific items or type of items. So that here in this demo database, what I've said is that Esther is actually the person in charge of selling chairs in the Northeast, and Kate is the person in charge of selling chairs in Scotland. Obviously, you don't have to do both. I mean, you can just assign, say, a salesperson to a sales territory or a salesperson to an item group, for example, but you can be as specific as you want. That way, if you have these kind of scenarios, our app is automatically going to assign these salespeople to the sales document. So let's see how this works. Let's go to sales invoice. I'm going to create a new sales invoice for the Bank of Scotland, who just happens to be one of our customers here in this database. And first thing is, because, I mean, the Bank of Scotland, if we check, does not have any salesperson assigned. But because it's in the sales territory of Scotland, automatically Robin has been assigned to the document with his team because he's assigned to team 1. Now, I'm going to sell a few desks, maybe some pedestals, and I'm also going to sell them a few chairs. And if you remember, I have actually set up a rule saying that chairs are sold by Kate in this sales territory. So she has been assigned to the line, and she's the one that's going to receive commissions. If we check here in the line commission preview fact box, she's the one that's going to receive commissions from this line, whereas for the others, it's going to be Robin and Lina because she's the manager for the team, and Benjamin because he's the sub-manager, and I've set up commission rules for them. Now, here, for those of you that have not seen the app before, you're seeing something that we already had from the beginning, which is the option to add several salespeople to the same sales document. You can do it at the line level, but you can even have several salespeople assigned to the document or to the line, so that you can say, okay, Robin is doing the sale, but actually this customer was introduced to him by Helena, so she's actually going to get 10% of his commission. Or you can even specify that 10% of the sale is going to go towards Helena, because we can define sales targets. We will see about that in a second. And obviously, the amount sold by each one is going to affect the targets achieved by each one. And you can add as many salespeople as you want. I guess that most of you that already have the app have seen this, but last summer we also added the option to specify the type of commission that each one of the additional salespeople was going to receive, so that you can say whether they are going to get specific commission, whether they are going to split commissions with the main salesperson, whether they are going to get their regular commission rate applied or their additional commission rate applied, which is a specific rate for when they are helping another salesperson. Okay, you can make it as complex as you want here, and when you have extra salespeople, you can see here the commissions that will be generated for them for the selected line. Okay. Now, I'm not going to spend much more time here. I'm just going to post the invoice. I don't really need to see it. And when we post an invoice, what's going to happen is that commission entries are being generated. For those of you that had not seen them, commission entries are basically the commissions that have to be paid. They are generated in the moment that the invoice is posted, but you can set the app so that commissions cannot be paid until the customer actually pays the invoice, which is the most common scenario. Now, in this list, we have done lots of small improvements during the last year, but I'm going to stop in two specific things in particular. The first thing, if you have installed the latest version of the app, is that we have actually changed a bit how the action menu is structured, so in order to be more to look closer to what Microsoft is doing currently in Business Central, and to all of the changes that they did in Business Central 2022 Wave 2, the version that they released last October. We now have the settle commissions up here so that you can quickly click it on and settle commissions. And one thing that we also changed last summer is the report that you handle to your salespeople, the commissions by salesperson report. You can still run it directly or email it to your salespeople. For those of you that do not know what this is, basically, if you click here, what's going to happen is that the report is going to be emailed to each salesperson individually in PDF, so that they can check their commissions and complain if there's anything that does not match what they expected. Now, this report has been updated, well, was updated last summer. We now use a nicer looking report with a nicer design. And the report has also been designed in Word, so that you can actually download the Word template from Business Central and customize it to your needs by adding your company logo, your colors, or whatever you want to change. You can actually add or remove extra columns from the report. The idea here is that you cannot, because if this is something that you're going to give to your salespeople, that you can change it and adjust it so it better matches what you want. Now, I'm just going to stop 1 second here from new features. For those of you that have not seen the app before, you have seen that we have posted an invoice and commissions have been generated. Those have been based on commission rates, which are the basic rules that the rules that you can define to specify how commission should be calculated for each individual invoice. You can set rules based on combination of who's selling, to whom, and what they are selling. You can add filters based on dimensions, so that this commission rate applies to lines with a specific dimension. You can specify commissions based on percentage, on sales amount or gross profit. You can specify a fixed commission amount if you want. You can define whether this commission is for the main salesperson, the manager, or a team role, or an additional salesperson that's helping. You can set rules based on discounts so that or profitability, so that you can have a different commission based on the discount applied to the sale and things like that. And you can define as many as you want, and this will be combined and applied to the sales documents when you post one. The idea here is always that on the day-to-day operation of Business Central, you basically can forget that our app exists. Other than for the fact that you can add several salespeople to the sales documents, the idea here is that everything's automatic, works automatically, and you just post documents that you do regularly, and commissions are calculated for them. Okay. Now, you can define commission rates, but you can also define sales targets, and this is something that we have greatly improved during the last year, especially in the version that we released in January. And we've also made some further improvements in the version that we released a couple of weeks ago. Now, before you could already set sales targets for your salespeople, but now I'm going to go to the year 2022 because that's for when I have data in this database. Now, you can define different different target for each salesperson, so that you can say, okay, Benjamin has to sell this amount of chairs during this year, or Esther had to sell this amount, Jim had to sell this amount, and so on. You can still set common targets for everyone if you want to keep it simple. But if you want to have different amounts for each one, you can do so now. And you can also define, well, when you do that, what you're going to define is the percentage of this amount, depending on the percentage achieved, the commission that they will get based on a percentage or on a fixed amount. You can also now define what we call milestones, which is just a way in which you can say, okay, at the end of January, we actually expect them to have sold 8% of their target. At the end of May, 40% of their target. At the end of September, 70% of their target, and so on. The idea with this is that when we calculate commissions monthly, if you're going to pay them monthly, which is something that many customers do, we can compare the commission achieved not with the full amount for the end of the year, but with the amount that's expected to have been achieved by the end of the current milestone. How does this work? I'm going to show you a report because it's easy to see it with it. I'm just going to run the report for October because it's for when I have data. At the end of the day, you get something like this. That's a report where you can see month by month the expected amount from the sales amount expected for this particular salesperson, for Kate, the actual sales amount achieved by her on each month, and which percentage this represents on her target, and the commissions that this amount has actually granted her. You can run this report monthly, you can send them to them, and you can post commissions monthly based on these criteria that we have defined here. You can make it more complex, you can set targets based on, give commissions based on the highest target achieved. You can make it tiered so that depending on the percentage, they get a higher commission percentage as they sell more and more, and things like that. I'm not going to stop into that. I'm just going to mention that if you don't want to make it so complex, you can keep using the simplest version that we had before, where you just set the target amount and the commission percentage that they should get based on that target amount. Okay. Now, something that we have also improved here, and not related to sales target, but to periods, is that now you can set a reference period. And what's that going to do? Well, for starters, when we are navigating here to the periods, you can see that we can see the sales amounts and the commission amounts for the selected period. And if we have a reference period and we go, say, to salespeople, I can go to Jim and I can see current sales for the reference or active period, so that right away I can see how he's doing this year. And we have added these fact boxes all around Business Central so that you can get this information for salespeople, you can get this information for sales teams, you can get this information for customers, for items. You can even, if you've defined item groups, you can get this information for item groups so that you can see how sales are going for chairs this month. Obviously, you can define the period for the year, or you can define the period for the month, for the quarter, so that you can quickly see this information at a glance when you are navigating through Business Central. Because as I mentioned at the beginning with salespeople, we don't just want to give you a way to handle commissions, but a way to sell better and have many more options when you are selling within Business Central, and give you lots of information on the things that you are selling. For that, in fact, we generate lots of sales stats, which is also something that we have slowly improved during the last year. We've added more reports. We have more information that you can get from here. From these sales stats, you can quickly see, well, everything that's being sold, but you can also see how the different documents have been split between the different salespeople that were assigned to them, and which amount of the invoice or the credit memo belonged to each one. That way, our app exploits uses this information on the fact boxes on other places, but you can use this information on your Power BIs to get better information on how sales are going within your company. This is something that was already in the app last year, but we have an option to specify the thing that freight charges and things like that should not be taken into account for stats, so that should not appear here, and so that when you do reports on how much each salesperson has sold, those kind of things are not taken into account. Now, we've seen what we've improved with salesperson rules, what we've improved in sales targets. Lately, in January, we also added the option to give commission advances or draws, so that you can now say, okay, at the end of January, in this case, I was going to give Jim $600 in advance, and he has returned it by the end of the year. The idea here is that you can do it just once, give a commission advance to someone, or you can maybe do monthly draws and give commissions to them that have to be paid back at the end of the year when sales targets and commissions for them are calculated, for example. Other things that we have kept improving that we added last year are things like delayed payment penalties, which is a way in which you can define penalties for those moments in which a customer does not pay in due time. If that happens, you can say, okay, if the customer does not pay on the due date, when there's a 1 month delay, or maybe a 1 day delay, the salesperson loses this percentage of their commission. And you can define as many rules as you want, so that you can have a penalty for a 1 day delay, a penalty for a 1 month delay, a penalty for a 6 month delay. And that way you kind of pressure your salespeople into pursuing your customers into paying. Now, we've also improved in the last release of the app what you can import into our app and into Business Central, because last summer we added the option to import commissions, so that you can quickly import commissions, say from your previous system if you are deploying Business Central, or maybe from the previous apps that you were using, or maybe you just have some commissions that for some reason you are still calculating manually. You can import them here into the app, so that they will be handled with the rest. But now you can also import sales stats, so that if for some reason you have sales that are not in Business Central, maybe because you are migrated into Business Central and you are not going to import all of the previous sales from the previous system to start with, but you want to calculate sales targets based on that, you can actually import that stats into our app. And you can also use this feature to do adjustment to sales stats if for some reason you actually want to adjust the amounts for your salespeople when calculating sales targets and getting reports on their sales. We also added, I think that this is something that most of you already saw, but we also added last year the option to quickly adjust commissions for a month or for a period in the adjustment journal. Basically, the idea here is that you could already change commission amount. You can make adjustments after commissions have been posted, but using this journal, you can actually do it in bulk, so that you can quickly review commissions, make adjustments, specify a reason why the adjustment has been done, and just pull the adjustment, so that you quickly change commissions based on whatever criteria you decide. Okay, and we've also done lots of improvements here and there, but I think I've shown you the main things that we've been improving during the last year. The only thing I'm going to end up mentioning, because that's something that we've had from the beginning, but it's interesting for those of you that have not yet used the app, is that when commissions are generated, you can settle them or pay them in two different ways. If you're working with your internal employees, you can use what we call settlement documents, which are a new document that we add to Business Central, where we can add commissions. So to define, okay, this month I'm going to pay this commission to each salesperson. This is generated automatically. I mean, you can do it manually, but we have an action here that you just say, okay, commissions for the April, and it will generate the corresponding documents automatically. And you can also pay using purchase invoices for those salespeople that are external to the company. And for that, you basically say that they are external and link them to a vendor. And that way, purchase invoices will be automatically generated for that vendor with the commissions that have to be paid to them. And because you can actually have different salespeople assigned to the same vendor, for customers that are in that situation, we also added last year a new report that gives you information on commissions, not by salesperson, but by vendor. So that, okay, for the salespeople, you can send them the regular report. But if you want to the vendor, you can actually send them a summary or a detailed report, all of the commissions that that are going to be paid to the sales people that are assigned to them. Okay. We've also improved a few of the reports. We've done lots of things here and there. But the main thing is that we keep improving the app constantly. And we hope to do this type of events with, every few months, so that we can, for current customers, we can keep you informed of everything that we are releasing, as well as to partners, so that you know everything that customers will have available from now on. And for those of you that don't still have the app, we hope that this small demo has helped you discover that it's quite nice, and hopefully that it fills your needs.